Hello and welcome to Unshakable with Human Design. I'm your host, Nicole Leno, and we're here together, just you and me today. And I'm I I come across this a lot, and I've been talking to a lot of people who fall into this category lately. We are in the middle of the Authority Accelerator Masterclass, if you aren't aware. Doors to Business by Design, my signature program, are open. I am talking to a lot of people. We are deep in the throes of all of it. If you want to register for the Authority Accelerator, though, we still have the replays up. So please DM me the word masterclass on Instagram. If you want to catch up on those replays, we'll email you instantly. Right after you register, you'll get an email from us that says, hey, here are the replay links so you can catch up with us. Or go to NicoleLeno.com/masterclass, or just pop down in the show notes. The link is down there. Register on the website and you'll get that exact same email and you can catch up that way. Okay. But I'm talking to a lot of people. There's a lot going on. And I hear this over and over and over again. People are taking a lot of action. They're not sitting on the couch watching Netflix or hanging out on a meditation pillow wondering when their money is going to show up. They're doing the work. They are owning the business. They're showing up. But they feel it's like that classic thing of I feel like I'm doing all the things, but it's not working. I'm not making the money that I need to make, and I'm not making the money that I deserve to be making based on how many hours I'm working, how much effort I'm putting in. The effort is not matching the result. And, girl, I've been there. I spent several years in that same exact spot. So I have a ton of empathy for it. And there's very fundamentally, what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to talk about the difference between busy action and actually really being grounded in the action that you take. And what I really want to talk about, though, is this difference from being a scattered CEO, which is what I call that, which is what I was. I was a scattered CEO for a number of years. Because when you're figuring it all out, and I'll talk about what it really looks like to be a scattered CEO, and then to go into being a sovereign CEO, which is a very different energy, which is a very different experience, both physically and energetically. So that's what we're going to break down today, and how you can go from being, if this fits you at all, if this resonates for you at all, you can go from being that scattered CEO where you feel like you're doing all the things, that you are putting out so much effort, but you are not getting an even return on that effort investment that you're making in your business. We'll talk about human design's role in this, and how human design can contribute to that scattered state. And what do we do to flip that around? What do we do to become sovereign? How does that work? How do we even do that, and what does it look like? Okay, so that's what we're going to break down today. So let's first talk about a scattered CEO. Scattered CEO, I think the types absolutely demonstrate and live the scattered differently. There is a different type of generators. Scattered usually looks very distracted. Scattered looks and I can see it in their faces. There's this, it's, they're going and going and going, but there's so much fear behind it. There's so much it's this very, it's a very tense feeling. But it's almost like they keep doing to distract themselves from how uncomfortable it feels. Projectors, I think, have a greater sense of the scatteredness because they don't particularly enjoy working that way. But really what they're just burning out. They just feel really tired. They're doing all the things, and they are getting, usually there's some nuances. It depends on the chart. But they feel they're bitter and they're not happy about this. They don't feel successful. And that usually makes them feel really drained and really burned out. And then sometimes what we see, particularly with really open projectors, is you start to really see the cracks. They really start to, because what's happening there is them being scattered causes them to be bitter because they're tired and they're depleted. And then they're not in their signature, which is success. So they're not getting the invitations that they want. So all of that effort is actually causing more trouble for them because it's not helping them be in alignment. It's messing with their energy. So they're in this really vicious cycle. So they can get really down on themselves and down on the things that they're doing. And they can get really messed up when they are a scattered CEO. Because if anyone's meant to be elegant and focused, it's a projector. It's really not their way. It's very out of alignment for them. Manifestors, if they're scattered, they usually are just pretty pissed. They're not happy about it. They can handle a lot, but they either are getting mad at the people who are not pulling their weight, they're getting mad at their business and starting to really resent it. And they feel depleted too, but it doesn't come out in like the cracking sense. The way they crack is they get angry. They get kind of pissed off at everything. And then they usually quit. Like generators, they'll keep going, until they die. Like we'll run ourselves right into the ground. And a reflector, they'll kind of have that, a similar probably experience. Every reflector is so different because they're literally like different throughout the day. So it's very hard to pin down. But in general, because of the way that this works and what we're talking about, is they just feel, if they have something that's not working like that for that long, they will most likely deal with it more in the more healthy way, which is they'll go do something else. They will go and pursue something else. But when they're scattered, you can feel that too. I consider it very similar to a projector, especially a very open projector that's just feeling the disappointment versus the bitterness is different. The way it comes out is different. But there's that same kind of like, have you ever stayed up too late? Or like you've stayed up way past your bedtime, or maybe you've stayed up like, to me, if like I'm up at 1 o'clock if I'm up at 1 o'clock in the morning at this age, I start to feel that like where it's like, oh, I can feel like my nerves. I can feel like how tired my brain is, like it's shutting down, like it's not functioning properly. And that to me is like how I see reflectors and projectors when they get to this scattered state, because they're just not, this isn't how no one's supposed to operate like this. But what happens is when people are in this state outside of just the human design types, what we have is the sad part is these are action takers. And action takers are like, give me an action taker all day. Because that's if sometimes we have people that are afraid of taking action. So if you're doing it, wonderful. But what happens is they're always moving. They're always trying new strategies. They're always like working on their business. They're always working on something. But the always working is almost, it's like a defense mechanism because they're afraid to sit still. Because really what they're doing is they're running on fear. If I slow down, I'll die. If I slow down, it won't happen. I'm so scared that it won't happen. So I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to keep going if it kills me. Right? They've got all these ideas. This is a very ungrounded person. And my job with that person is to slow them down. My job with that person is to bring them into the ground, their feet into the ground, to, this show is called Unshakable with human design. It's because the human design has the power to make you unshakable, but you become unshakable not by becoming this protected rock. No, you become unshakable by deconditioning, by feeling your feelings and not carrying these deep shadows where you're trying to hide them from people, where you're masking your real feelings. Because I got news for you, you're not masking anything. People can see the cracks. If they can't see them, they can feel them. And that hurts your business. So these people end up in like this frantic energy, right? And that hurts their business. But then here's the other thing that happens. So they're taking all of that action, and because taking action is a fear response, it's a trauma response, because they're so afraid, because they're in survival mode. They're in survival mode, but survival mode equals survival level results. It equals low return because you are just taking the least amount that you need. You're just getting by. Scattered action leads to scattered results. Survival mode equals survival level results. And we don't want that. We want abundance, right? So you can't say you want abundance, but you're energetically in alignment with survival. It doesn't work like that. When they talk about getting into the energy of what you want, I want abundance. I want $1 million. I want a business that's bigger and more fulfilling and more self-sustaining than I could ever imagine. That you cannot then on the inside. You can't want that on the outside to manifest that. We manifest with our feelings. We manifest with ourselves. We manifest with our energy. If your energy is aligned with fear, you will get fear. You will get the things that you fear. You will get survival level results. You will not get abundance. You'll get lessons. Lots and lots of lessons, and you'll wonder why. So then what do? Then you shift into shiny object syndrome. And then you start going, oh, maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll do this, because you're so scared that the thing that you picked, you'll be wrong. So you shift to the next thing. And then you go, and then something's not working. And so I'm going to go sign up for this other thing. Then I'm going to sign up for this other thing. Then I'm going to get this. I bought this PDF from somebody, and then I bought this $37 offer from somebody else. And then now I'm thinking about investing in this thing over here. And maybe I need somebody to build me a funnel. I don't know. I'll get a copywriter. That's what'll fix it. So you're throwing money at new strategies when strategy usually is not what you need here. If you're in survival mode, this requires a spiritual and emotional tool. You're looking to the wrong tool to solve this problem. But I see this with clients a lot. And because the type of coach that I am, my goal is to make you a sovereign CEO. My goal is that you won't need me eventually. Lots of people I have clients that have been with me for years. But they choose to stay with me because they either want to get to a new level and they love how we work together. So they stay and they're like, this is the type of environment I want to be in, and I trust you to get me to this next place that I'm going. Or they value coaching and they like how we work together and they like what we've created together and they stay. Or a lot of them, what I love is they work with me and then they go away for a little while and they work on their own. They find the new level that they want to achieve and then they come back. Nothing is more gratifying to me than somebody being like, I want to come back because I want to work on this thing now. And I'm like, this is awesome. Let's do it. It's like my dream. Yes, that means I'm doing my job. You don't need me. You desire something more and you desire help and you still picked me. That's my kind of magic for me, because I'm here to make my clients sovereign CEOs. I don't tell them what to do. What I do is I have conversations with them about what they can do. I remind them who they are. I ground them so they are no longer in survival mode and they are able to make decisions from their wisdom and not from their fear. When you're in survival mode, you are in fight flight. You are in, that's the primal reaction to, our body's autonomic nervous system is automatically shifting us into a state of running for our lives. You can't be brilliant when you're running for your life. That's not what your body is allowing for. Your body is physically trying to make you run, to save you. I have to get you out of that state. But here's what happens. So I'll get clients that are scattered CEOs and they come into the work with me and we're working on the nervous system and I'm trying to get them to slow down and I'm trying to get them to understand the survival mode thing, but they're not there yet. And I'm telling them what to do, but maybe they're not doing the tapping work and they're not really doing it because there's a small part of them, that smaller part of them that's trying to keep them safe, doesn't want them to heal. Because it requires them to go into a darker part of themselves and turn on the light. And that's scary. We have to go into the unknown. And that's scary. It's far easier. Even though this is killing their results, even though being scattered sucks and they don't like it, it's safer than where I want to take them, which is to their truth, which is through the unknown. That's scary because a lot of people are scared of success just as much as they are scared of failure. In fact, sometimes it's more. I had a huge fear of success. So what I find is that I'll have a lot of clients that come in and, they're still so scared. And what'll happen is we'll have a few days between our calls or something. And then I'll get a Voxer from them if they're a private client, or a Telegram if they're in business by design. And they're like, yeah, I was having coffee with this friend of mine, or so I have this other coach and they said that I should do XYZ and this strategy and this thing, and I should offer it for free, and I should do this, and this is what I should do. And I'm just listening and I'm like, okay. I'm not in the business of saying that other coaches or friends or anybody is wrong or that advice is wrong. In fact, I want you to make that decision. I don't want to make that decision for you. However, this you taking in, you're not implementing the things that we talked about. And now you have shiny object syndrome because you're so afraid still that things won't work out. Sometimes the things that the friends told them or the coach told them is very similar to what I told them, strategically speaking, of what we needed to do. I just said, I'm like, you're not grounded. That's what happens. Every idea sounds great because you're so scared that you're not going to be okay. Ask yourself, if you feel scattered and you're doing all the things and it's not working, you need an emotional fix. It is not a strategic fix. And the question you need to ask yourself is, what am I afraid to feel right now? What am I so afraid of? Because that will tell you where the work is. And that will tell you how you break the cycle. You are in a pattern. And if we can't recognize our patterns, then we cannot be sovereign. Because when we are sovereign, we make decisions from our wisdom. We have certainty. A sovereign CEO has certainty. Not that it will all go right. No, a sovereign CEO doesn't know it will all go right. The key is that they know they will be okay no matter what. I can handle anything. I call this I've got this energy. Sovereign CEOs live in I've got this energy. I've got this when? I've got it no matter what. That's what being unshakable is. That is what this is. And that is the difference between having momentum and moving forward and forward and forward and forward, and moving and then being not centered, being ungrounded, and moving forward and back and to the side and stopping and being scared and then spending money and being in that pattern. Not fun. I've been there. I would never desire to go back there. And thankfully, I won't ever. Because the work that you do on your nervous system, the work you do on centering yourself, on grounding yourself, on deconditioning, never goes away. It doesn't mean that there aren't deeper levels that we have to take ourselves to with this. Sure there are. I decondition all the time. I'm just like, I think of it like I deep clean my house. If I keep it clean, I don't have to deep clean it again, really. Like, I will just be cleaning it from now on. And if I maintain it well, then I don't have to hire a team to come in here and deep clean the house unless I'm like moving out. That's what I'm talking about. You're on the maintenance plan then. And life changes when you're on the maintenance plan, when you're on the ascension plan, when you're on the expansion plan. That's how you get to it. I don't care how many manifestation classes you take or affirmations you say. If you aren't regulating your nervous system, if you aren't, and it's not even about regulation, it's about clearing it. It is about rewiring it. It is about understanding yourself so deeply that you can be aware of and feel in your body when you are not in a state of expansion, that you can feel the contraction, because the contraction is what's causing you to be broke. The contraction is what's causing you to be scattered. It's keeping you stuck. wherever you're at. And whatever level you're at, it's usually something internal needs to shift in order to clear the path. If you learn the process of being able to feel into that, recognize it, see what needs to move, and have the tools to move it, you become unstoppable. But if you just continue looking for more tactics and more advice from people, and you don't want to go inside, then you will probably stay scattered. But trust me, the sovereign path, it's the better one. This is where money starts to feel easy. This is where strategies, ones that you may have thought didn't work for you, start to work. Because the difference between the scattered CEO and the sovereign CEO is they're doing the same things, but the sovereign CEO gets results from them. Usually the sovereign CEO is just also doing a whole lot less, because there's a lot of things that the scattered CEO is doing to just occupy themselves with busyness so they don't have to feel how uncomfortable they are and how scared they are, because they're afraid they might fall apart. But I promise you, you won't. The work allows you to clear space. And that's where the sovereign CEO lives. So I'm going through all of this in the Authority Accelerator Masterclass, and this is the work that we do inside Business by Design, and doors are open for Business by Design. There are links in the show notes for both of those if you want to check out the Business by Design page, or if you want to register for the Authority Accelerator Masterclass, the link is down there, or DM me the word Masterclass on Instagram. I'm at Nicole Leno Official. We'll register you there, and we will send you the replay link immediately after you sign up. You can catch up with us, and you can check out Business by Design, book a call with me, a clarity call, if you want to know more about whether it's right for you. But if you're ready to step into your sovereign CEO era, then I highly encourage you to check this out, because that is the work that we do inside Business by Design. That is what I do. And quite frankly, that's the work that I am damn good at. I'm a Scorpio moon, Scorpio rising, Virgo sun. I go deep. And I'm really, really good at it. And it's some of my favorite work to do with people. It is uncomfortable, but there is nothing that pays dividends like going into and discovering your own sovereignty through human design and through the deconditioning work, the way that we approach it. I hope you check it out. I hope I get to meet you. In the meantime, I appreciate you listening to this. And remember, in order to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. So thanks for letting us help you become unshakable with human design. We'll see you next time.